All right, so I've started just to let people have a few minutes to get on.
People join in.
Yeah.
Sip the beer.
Yeah. Why don't you tell the good people of the internet what you're drinking?
Oh shit. What's the damn name of the name? Count Chocula. Count Chocula. From Green Room Brewery in Jack's Beach. We still empty?
No, we've got 2 people in here.
Just give it a minute or 2.
Yeah. Tonight I am drinking good old Maker's 46. Tasty, tasty. Once again, I'm working in the garage doing car shit, Ferrari glass. And trying not to die, getting on and off a stool. Alright, we still got 2 people.
We'll start in a second regardless.
Thank you.
Who'd that be?
You're gonna have to. I don't know people's.
Oh, okay, yeah. Terrible fucking names, though.
So today, doing a brake tuck.
Basically, we're going to start the brake tuck and show you all the ins and outs of how I happen to do this. There's so many different ways to do it, and a lot of people do it different ways, but since I was a shop owner for a while and I had to do this for a living, I had to figure out ways to do it efficiently, cheaply, and still maintain quality. So this is the way that I do it. Maybe some of you will like it, and it could be helpful.
So let's talk about what you have on the table here.
Alright, so these are all the brake tools I need to do a brake tuck. Don't need a whole lot of fancy stuff when you're working with steel lines, and that's another thing. I really don't care for stainless lines. All factory vehicles come with steel lines, kind of always have. They work just fine. They don't ruin your tools. You don't have to spend forever straightening them, and it just requires less tools to deal with. So this is pretty much all I use to do it. Nothing super fancy, just simple. So we got our JB Tuned brake line tuck kit where we'll be using a lot of our fittings from. I use these pre-made steel lines that you can pretty much get at any auto parts store. And the reason I use these is because they come flared on both ends with the factory, bubble 10mm by 1.0 flare. And you can basically cut them up to your needs. So if I cut this in one place, because everywhere else you got an and fitting on one end and a factory fitting on the other, it just makes things super simple. Also, I really, really hate using adapter fittings, especially on the proportioning valve. The fitting itself, here is it. Let me show you one. The seat right here on these fittings just does not sit in the proportioning valve properly. And you end up having to tighten them so ridiculously to get them to not leak. And I really just got sick of chasing leaks, so I pretty much just stopped using them altogether. So anywhere where there's a factory connection still, especially at the proportioning valve, we always use the factory bubble flare 10mm by 1.0. Same thing goes for the brake line connections to the calipers. Those are all still the factory connections, so we keep the factory connections. Alright, so this right here is our bulkhead fitting. This is the fitting that is used to go through any pass-through or firewall or any type of pass-through. This will be our bulkhead fitting that we're going to use to go from this point to this point. This will get our caliper line, our driver's side caliper line, to the interior of the car so we can take it to the proportioning valve.
It does not want to focus.
Yeah.
Come on, freaking A.
Light over here, so
yeah, I need to plug in. Will you plug in that lamp, babe? I tried to turn it on and it's not going, and now it's all out of focus. Hello.
It's not plugged in.
There we go.
Yeah, here I'll plug this in down here so people can see. too bright. Let's see what's going on here. Is that too bright?
No, not for what we're going to be doing.
All right. So yeah, tonight basically we're going to be making the line that goes from here to here. And that bulkhead fitting I was just telling you about, it's going to go right here through this hole. That way this line can pass through to the inside of the car and go straight to the proportioning valve. So we'll go ahead and grab that fitting and stay there, babe. And you basically put this towards the interior of the car, and then this nut screws on just like so and sandwiches it in. That way you can connect on one side and connect to the other. Super, super simple. All right, babe, if you could hold this for me, I'll go in there and put that in. Yeah, hold on to that for me. All right. Okay, fitting is in. Another thing I want to explain while we're still kind of in the beginning of this, this particular car is still going to have heat and AC, pretty much all of its factory functions. So doing the brake line tuck makes it a little more difficult. You can't just put your lines wherever you want. You got to make sure you have clearance for your steering column, you know, for all your AC vents to the rear seats, you know, your heater box, etc. So what I usually do in this situation is I remove the SRS. This car is going to get an aftermarket steering wheel anyways, so there's really no need to keep it. Right there, if you want to come here, babe. Well, you're not going to be able to see it right now. We can save that for another time. But basically, the proportioning valve will go right in the center of the car, right at the firewall, and the center, right where the SRS brain box used to be. Basically, when you're removing the SRS stuff, basically anything with a yellow cable, all of this crap. This is the brain box right here. This is the piece that sat right in the middle where our proportioning valve will now be. Plenty of space for it, as you can see, because this big old thing was there before. These are all your crash sensors, so definitely want to take all those out. You may as well just remove all the wiring while you're at it, because you're not going to use any of it. So that's basically what that is. Anything that's yellow is usually SRS. Which that is airbags for people that may not know. Alright, so I guess now that we got our bulkhead, we can go ahead and start fooling around with the line. Alright, so usually what I like to do for these lines is I like to basically put like a 180 degree bend in it, kind of like so. And I've just done this so many times that it's not even a thing for me to do it anymore. So you kind of start to form a nice bend there. And once again, when you're working with steel lines, you can do it like this. You can do it by hand. Super easy to work with. Doesn't destroy your tools, etc., etc. Alright, and there we go. That'll basically be the piece that runs to our caliper line right there. So what I usually like to do, let me get a marker real quick, give me a second. Why are you being so quiet, Adam? You should be making fun of me or something. It's not as serious as you.
You're over there chuckling to yourself.
You're watching.
Listen to my dumb ass talk.
Watching parents fight at a high school graduation.
Fun times.
How do you avoid kinking the line when you're doing it by hand?
Really? When it comes to kinking the line, it's just all feel. I've done it so many times that it's easy for me like that. But for people that haven't done it many times, here, you can come over here. These are some bending pliers I like to use whenever you're getting tighter bends. You can see that the line just kind of fits in there, and you can work it around. Makes it a little easier. Also, you could just buy a bender. There's all kinds of different benders out there, cheap ones you can get. That might make it easier. But for me in particular, it's just one of those things, repetition. But you want to come down here and check this out, babe. I'll show you what we're going to do here. I already put the mark on it, but I'll put that right up to the fitting there. And you see where that line is. You got to go a little bit past, because you got to make up for the width of the flare right here that's got to go over that fitting. So you go slightly past the center of where this is going to go in. You put a mark on it. Pull our line out. And this right here is the tube cutter. Pretty simple. They're cheap. You can get them all over the place. Pretty sure you can get them in Advance these days. Napa. All those places. Go ahead and cut. Right there on our mark. Can everybody hear me okay?
No one said anything about it, so.
Let's make sure the sound's working, all that stuff. Alright. So with these things, it's kind of a little at a time. You put it on there and you get it tight. You gotta kind of turn it a few times. Tighten it a little more. It takes a little effort, but get a nice clean cut. This one's being stubborn. I haven't used it in a while. There we go.
Oh, yeah. Remo, and for anybody else that's watching this, we put this on YouTube afterwards. There's a link in the bio on Instagram to the playlist that I'm saving all of these to, so that if you miss one, you can go back and watch it. Or if you want to see something again, you can see it again. So it's not a one-time use video.
Slowly but surely, man. Yeah, these cutters are a little old and wore out. A lot of times it's quicker than this. Rigid makes a really good one that I want to buy. I think we're about there. I don't like to do it too fast either. Leave a big old burr on the inside.
Yeah, deform it. Mushroom the end of it.
Mm-hmm. Alright, there we go. We're finally through. Alright. So once you get your flare cut, you see you got kind of a burr on the inside and the outside. They actually make deburring tools to clean the insides of these. But I got this little drill bit here that I just put in there and turn a few times, and it takes care of it. It's super, super minor. Alright. Once you get that cleared out, file. Hit the edges just a little, make sure there's no burr, and face it one time. Should look nice and clean like that. If y'all can see that.
They can. Just don't get too close to me because the focus gets wonky.
Right. I'm going to sip my beer one time.
There you go.
Just so y'all know, my friend Adam is here right now. He is going to be the one making the AC lines for us on this car. We're going to make some custom AC lines and hide some things. And some of you probably know Noah DeLillo's car. It was a green EK Coupe, Funk Fashion, the owner of Funk Fashion. Adam made all the AC lines for that car too. And yeah, basically a nice little tucked AC system. Alright. So we're going to check this thing, make sure it fits in there good. Hopefully I didn't cut it too short. I'd rather it be long than anything. Looks like that's about what we want there. Okay. So we got to make sure we do not forget to put our nut and sleeve on there. Can't tell you how many times I flared a line and forgot to put these damn things on there, and it was ruined. dozen times at least. Okay, so you got to slide the nut on there first, then the sleeve. Make sure you put the sleeve with the skinny side facing down towards the nut, just like that. So we get our flare tool here. And this flare tool, I've actually had for about 4 years now, and I got this one from Matco. It's not super expensive, but it's made just for doing these 37-degree and fittings. Another thing, just so you guys know, and fitting stands for Army Navy. Some people do or don't know that. But, yeah, just a basic 37-degree flare tool. That's all it is. Alright, so we find our 3/16 spot. Get kind of snug in there. Alright. Close. So with this flare tool, I like it to be sticking up out of there about a 1/64 of an inch. Now every tool is going to vary how far you have to go, and they make so damn many of these now. It's all going to vary.
You stay where you are. Don't move.
Okay. Alright. Pop that on there like so. Alright. Tuck her down slowly. And you always want to back it off a little bit when you're going into this, because if you go steady into it, you'll crack that line. The last thing you want is cracks. Cracks mean leaks. Alright, I think we're good. And there we go. Basic 37-degree single flare. That's all you need. You don't need double flares, bubble flares, any of that other crap. Basic single 37-degree flare. And there's our line. Let's go ahead and put it in there and make sure it works. Might have to adjust it a little. Sometimes you gotta go ahead. Yeah, I knew I was gonna have to bend it over a little there. So we'll bend it out here a little. There a little. Alright. Make sure that's it all the way. Sometimes they're a pain in the ass. Come on, you hooker. Oh, there we go. Alright, here's your basic brake line. Super easy to make, super simple. Only took a couple of minutes. Alright, beer time.
Beer time.
It's fucking hot. Turning on the fan for a minute. Oh, I'm gonna plug it.
For the light. Ha ha.
Yeah.
So what were we going to do next? What was the next thing we were going to do?
I mean, that went a little quicker than expected. It always does, I guess, right? So who all's on right now? Anybody have any questions? Anything they want to ask? Anything they want to ask about the build? We're not going to go too far with the brakes tonight because unfortunately I do not have the proportioning valve we're going to use next. whenever we have a car with AC and all that stuff, I prefer to use an EK proportioning valve. That's because the outlets all come out on one side and it's nice and flat. So it makes it real easy to route the lines, keep them nice and low profile, out of the way of everything. The proportioning valve that comes with this has lines coming out multiple directions and just makes it real complicated. It takes up a lot more space. So as soon as we get that EK prop valve, we'll really be able to go to town on the brakes. But for now, just really wanted to show y'all the basic stuff.
So
I guess we can go ahead and make the other line if we want to.
Zoe is asking if he can have your babies. Well, Zoe, I don't think that is actually possible. I've already done it, so, you know, it's been done before. Do something new. He does ask us power goals, which I have no power goals. It's called my power goals are it goes forward and stops and doesn't break down on the highway. Hey.
Well, there's the power.
And then he asked me, y'all's power goals. At least it's an H. It's fun to drive. And then Zoe asked how shaved we're thinking of going. So let's go in here and talk about this for a minute because we're doing the plate kit on the CB. So that's actually a really great intro to that.
Yeah, we actually did the prototypes for the plate kit today for this car. There's some videos on my profile on Instagram if any of you guys want to check it out. Hopefully I'll be releasing those this weekend. It just depends on when we can do the production run. Hopefully we can do the production run Thursday. If we can do it Thursday, I can release them Saturday. But you want to talk about the bay? Yeah,
let's talk about the bay shave.
As far as the bay with this car, it's really just going to be a mild shave. We can get rid of this real quick. Get all this shit. We're really just going to be taking care of, you know, all the small holes, the big holes. We're not going to be welding seams and super smoothing it. We're just going to grind all the seam sealer out and take care of all the holes, and that's pretty much it. Give her a nice, pretty paint job. Not a super shave. Clean, but not super shave. And mainly really because she's going to be driving this car every day, and I don't really want to be fixing cracks every 2 or 3 years because I don't give a shit who you are. You shave bays, that's how it goes if you drive them every day. So, yeah, we're going really the mild shave route with this one. And the plate kit we got will cover every bit of this stuff. You know, all these holes here. It's not just for the firewall. Of course, it will do all these on the firewall, but all these ones in the front too, the brake line holes, the larger ones in the frame, all that stuff.
We've got 6 people on right now.
Yeah. Let's see.
Well, here, since we have 6 people on, let's do the other side.
You want to do another brake line?
Let's do the other side. That way everyone who wasn't here at the beginning can see it done again.
All right, yeah.
Okay.
Basically, we're going to start again. If you want to go ahead and show the people that just came in, the one down here if you want.
No, I want to start from the beginning.
All right, so we're going to start like we did before. Once again, steel lines. Steel lines you can bend by hand. Don't destroy your tools. I can't stress this enough. I tell you how many people just push the stainless line thing, and I really think that it's overkill. You don't have to have AN fittings everywhere. The factory connections they don't leak, they work. Only put AN fittings on the bulkheads in the places that you have to. It just makes so much more sense.
Zoe asked if you suggest people seam seal the back of the kits.
The back side of them, since they get welded solid, you really should only have to do like some, you could do like spray on bed liner or undercoating, or even just clean them off real good and paint them. I mean, as long as the person did their job and welded them solid like they're supposed to, then there really shouldn't be any issues with that.
Okay, so since you guys weren't here at the beginning, there was a 90-degree bend that needed to go, and here I'll come down here really quick and show you. There is a bend right here that he is hand bending with his fingers because he's done this so many times, right? And then it goes in, and we're gonna show you again like these fittings and how they
Actually,
That
that
thing.
one's already in.
Oh, is it already in?
Yeah, that one's
All right,
already
well
in.
then show me over here. We've got a whole bag of them.
Oh, we want to go over the bulkhead
Yeah,
fitting again?
yeah, we've got,
All right.
we had almost no one in the room when you started.
That's
so
fine. Yeah, this is
close to me.
all right, cool. This is basically your bulkhead fitting. This part goes through your firewall or whatever surface you need to go through. You put this nut on the backside and screw it down, and that's basically it. It allows you a pass-through for your brake fluid to go inside of the car so you can get to your proportioning valve. And right now we're building this line to go from the factory passenger side caliper to this connection. All right, I guess we'll probably need to move the light over
Yep.
there. Because I need to get a measurement on the length of this. For the people that just joined in, these lines you can get from any auto parts store. You don't have to straighten them. You don't have to flare the other end. It just takes so much work out of this whole process. All right, I forgot my Sharpie. Shit.
Okay,
Give me a second.
I'll grab it.
I'll use this opportunity to sip my beer.
There you go, sip the beer. And see, he's already put the fitting in this side. And the bend he made is going to fit here. But first, he has to make sure that they get cut to the right length. So he's going to come over here and he's going to mark.
There we go.
Show again, because where that mark actually goes on that line, because I don't think that came out very clearly the last time.
Yeah, it's kind of, you'll see. All right, so we'll have to bend that a little bit just to get it out of the way. Definitely got to remove that. That'll make it wrong. All right, so you see the fitting there. And this is where we have to go to. So you always have to allow about an extra 3/16 of an inch here for the length of this flare, right? So we'll go off the center of this over here. Damn it, if I can get that to stay. Right, and then we'll just go about a 3/16 offset just over the center of that brake line entrance there.
And here, oops, crap. I don't know if you can see, but see the entrance right there? He's going just past the edge of that entrance, right?
Yeah, because you got to make sure you have room for the actual flare, because the flare is going to fit over that fitting there.
There you go.
So once again, with the cutting tool, it takes.
Rima
9
asks,
years.
are we running stainless brake lines from the fitting to the caliper or rubber lines?
We'll be running stainless brake lines. We'll be upgrading those because it actually has stainless brake lines on them now, but it looks like it's some really old Goodridge ones that have that plastic coating on them, and the coating's all peeling off and they look like shit, so we'll probably replace them.
And Zoe asks, in Hondas, are the proportioning valves inside under the dash?
This one will be from the factory there. Actually, this car, it's actually down here in the bay in the corner. But with most Civics, Integra, stuff like that, they're up here on the firewall. This car is actually not bad with the brake lines. Most of them are hidden from the factory, but we want them hidden completely. So we're going to go the extra mile and put them all inside.
And so what are you doing right now?
So right now, I'm cutting this. This is a basic cutting tool here, and this one is crappy and dull, apparently, because it's taking me forever to get through it. So you got to do this a little slowly. Just tighten it and turn it. Tighten and turn it. Fun, fun, fun. Adam, you're too quiet. I'm going to come over there and punch you.
Later.
Oh, here.
Yeah, go ahead, man. Do it. That's been over there the whole time.
Wish I'm letting right in here.
I'll punch you right now.
I had a few before I came over too.
Well, that's why you're so quiet. Alright, this cutter that takes fucking forever. I really need to get a new one.
Oh, my bad. I don't mean for it to be really loud.
What's loud?
My vape.
Oh, is it loud?
I guess so. Okay, so Remo's asking, are we using a 40-40 proportion valve?
Yes.
Or the same OEM size but from another Honda so it can run easier. But I don't think that's why we're using...
We're using a 40-40 proportion valve because she has disc brakes. This car actually has all Prelude spindles and rear trailing arms. It's all been converted to 5-lug. It has the larger brakes. So yeah, we are going to use the 40-40 from an EXSI EK. Yeah, we are. All right. So we got our line cut. I'm going to use my makeshift deburring tool, which is a tiny drill bit. You can actually buy deburring tools that are meant to do this. But for me, this works just fine. Just put it in there and turn it a couple times and gets it right out of there. All right. After that, get our file and hit the edge ever so slightly. Face it a little. Get that inside a little bit more. One thing I did forget to do on the last one that I did not show you guys is blow air through the line. Always have to do that to make sure there's no debris in it. Because if there's any debris in the line, cause all kinds of stupid ass problems that you can't even figure out. So before we go any further, I'm going to go ahead and blow some air through this line. Where's my air at? Right here.
All right. All right, get out of this corner.
Edge of our fitting and that's it. Just pop a little air through it. Always got to do that, though.
Zoe wants to know if it's okay to use a Civic proportioning valve even though it's a bigger, heavier car.
I don't think that matters. All the proportioning valve does is distribute fluid to each caliper. It's not really so much about how much fluid or what it needs. As long as the car requires a 40-40 valve, then yeah, you could go with that valve. I don't think that's going to make a difference, as far as I know. All right, what am I doing now?
Nut.
Flaring
No,
now.
first you're putting the nut and bolt on there,
I know. Yes.
and then you're flaring.
Yeah, so first, don't be a dumbass like I was about to do until Monica mentioned. You got to make sure before you flare your line to put your tube nut and sleeve on. Because if you forget, you've done ruined it. You got to start over. And not only that, we need to check and make sure this line fits in there. Make sure we don't have to cut it again. Sometimes these little things get stuck in here. We'll just go ahead and get it differently. I'm tired of dealing with it. Alright, let's come over here and check and make sure this fits. And it looks like it's going to fit very nicely. Where's that at?
Where's what up?
The thing.
The thing.
Right here. That keeps going up.
Does it? Alright. So we got to put the nut on first, then the sleeve, in that order. Because when you pull this up, it grabs the sleeve, and that's what catches your fitting. Alright, so we got that on there. Standard Matco 37-degree flare tool, like I explained earlier. Super simple. This one is made just to do 37-degree flares, which is for and fittings. This particular tool needs to stick up out of there about a 1/64 of an inch. Every tool is going to be different. They make so many different ones now. Damn it. Gotta get it just right though. Tighten that down. I should be oiling this thing. I don't have any here. Alright. And you're going to tighten a little and back off. You stay in it and you keep tightening it, you just end up cracking the line. You got to keep relieving the pressure as you go. This is even worse with stainless lines. Remember when I used to do stainless lines, I would end up cracking every other freaking flare. I don't know if some of you other guys have the same problem, but I just got sick of dealing with stainless lines, There's no reason to have them. The factory doesn't use them, so why even bother? I could see maybe using them in the engine bay for decorative purposes if you want to polish, etc. But other than that, no reason to really do it.
Not being able to see them.
Yeah, exactly. There we go. Little 37 degree single flare. You don't need double flares, bubble flares, or anything like that. Slide your 2-nut sleeve over and let's go put her on. I don't know if you can see where the damn, can you?
Yeah. There you go. This way there.
That's a little off. Let's move this a little. And if your link's a little off, you can always adjust in your radius. If you loosen that a little, loosen this a little, you can. There's always room for adjustments, as long as you don't get too carried away. Oh, I've been in the wrong damn direction. Alright, hang on a second. Ah! Alright, she's on there.
Alright.
Simple as that.
And so, yeah, we're going to do a part 2 after the 40/40 valve comes in. We'll do a part 2 where we'll talk about running everything else.
You never used this style before? Pretty sweet, man. Super quick.
I got that Eastwood one that's pretty
I've
good.
never had leaking issue. Yeah, that Eastwood one is cool because you can do everything with it.
Yeah. You change wheels on it too.
Yeah, I mean, every now and then I have had to do a bubble flare.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much throwing your cigarettes in your engine bay. I thought it was on fire. How many drinks we got in there?
We have 4 people in here. Remo says his only problem is I would do the math for a rolling offset.
What's he talking about?
I don't know. I don't know what that means.
Oh, he's talking about for the lines?
I'm guessing.
You very well could do the math if you wanted to. You can make templates. You can get real carried away. But I ain't got time for that. They don't have to be perfect. The only lines that have to be perfect, actually, are the 2 lines that you will see that go from the master cylinder to the firewall. The rest of them, you know, as long as they're tied off perfectly, they're not touching each other, not rubbing the firewall, it's fine. This is not rocket science. Anyone can do this. Definitely not difficult. You see, it only takes a few tools, not a whole lot of money in this. And I've done every single brake line I've ever done with these tools, except for back when I did do stainless. I had to have some more tools, but don't do stainless anymore.
So is asking if we're butterflying the lines off of the master.
What does he mean by that? What do you mean by that, Zoe? I don't know if he's referring to maybe the lines splitting off or something
He's
like
saying
that.
they should be good enough for the girls. Remo is saying they should be good enough for the girls that he goes out with. I mean, if they even know what they're looking at, that's a plus.
Drink local beer. Everyone should. Bud Light sucks. Where's my pen?
You mean yeast water?
Yeast water.
Where did it go?
Oh,
Oh, there it is. I think he's going out.
Well, I wasn't being proactive. So, yeah, we're hanging out here. Oh, bow tie style off the master. Zoe is asking with the lines.
Oh, I hear what he's saying. Yeah. I don't think I can do that with this car. Well, maybe I could. I don't know. I might could do something fancy. That's not a bad idea. What he's saying is you can make different shapes with the lines, hearts,
I've
bow
seen
ties,
this.
all
I've seen
kinds of
this.
things you can.
Oh my gosh, heart break lines would be super fucking cute. Especially if I have to have 2 lines.
If I was to do something like that at work, I would cut some pieces of plate and make a jig to bend it on.
Ah.
Like say you take some 3/8 plate and you cut out that heart and I could tack it to this table and then I could just bend the line right on around it.
Yeah.
And that's the way I would do that. Be the easiest way. But not everybody has access to a plasma cutter, so unfortunately might not be everybody's route. Is that still going?
Yes, Zoe is happy about that.
Thanks for hanging out with us, though. Is Jody in there?
No, Jody is
No
not in
Jody.
here.
I'm surprised.
There have been no, molesty messages.
Jody's usually with us every time. Yeah.
So someone asks what calipers we're going to be using. And those are just my
Those
stock.
are Prelude.
They're when we
Yeah.
got the 5 lug swap, because it's 4-wheel disc, so we had to do that.
Yeah, it's got all Prelude brakes. Prelude front and rear, Prelude 5-lug, Prelude spindles. Custom modified lower control arms, actually, that we had to modify. Which we're actually going to change because we're going to put an innovative traction bar on this thing. We'll be getting rid of this crap and we'll have Heim joints. And with the innovative bar, we can go back to the Prelude arms. Remember how I was telling you?
Yes.
We can go back to the Prelude arms and get rid of these.
Yeah. So your baby question was a little molesty. So yeah, you made up for Jody's absence. It was creepy. Zoe says, knowing Chris, I'm surprised he's not doing NSX brakes. Yeah, I mean...
The parts are hard to find, man. That was easier to do 10, 15 years ago, but now, not so much. Those parts cost just as much as, buying a Willwood kit or something like that.
Really?
I can't even remember the last time I seen NSX brakes for sale. My homie Jason Dan, he's got some on his DA.
Remo says you should consider the Gym Fab traction bar.
Yeah, actually. But I don't know if they'll make it for this body. The only one I could find was innovative.
The CB is the stepchild, and then he says build one, and so there was someone.
Right.
Wait, there was someone. Wait, there was someone on the CB7 tuner, not the CB7 tuner, the CB Accord group that was talking about making these. I don't know who he was or whether or not it would be any good, but the conversation was had.
Yeah, I could build one, man. You are right. But just the problem is I don't have any time. Time is worth more than gold. You see what we're doing? We're out here on a Tuesday night at 9:30 once the kids are asleep, trying to get some time in on the car. Time is hard. Well, I think we're about done.
Yeah.
Tonight.
He's been hounding you for years to build one.
Yeah, he has, actually. Yeah. He first mentioned that to me on dseries.org. I do believe. Actually, I think he mentioned it to me when I went to South Carolina.
Just like my car.
Yep. Dude, the one on his car is fucking awesome. It is. It's all tubular and it's got these extra braces that go underneath. It's really, really nice. I remember when he brought the car and I first looked at it, it was like, damn. That's nice.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to wrap this one up. It's shorter than our last one, but, we're...
How long did we go for?
I don't know yet.
I guess we'll find out, huh?
Remo says, let's build one.
Yeah. He's probably right. All right, guys. Thank you guys for viewing. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah.
We appreciate everyone. And we'll put these up on YouTube and see you next time.
See you next time.